All right, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So I got an email from a subscriber, and this one says, "Yo, Mr. Locario, I have a question about when you're talking to women, how to transition the conversation into talking to her about sex and building that sexual tension with her when I first meet her or on a first date." Without coming across as thirsty. Should I small talk her just for a few minutes to warm her up and then start flirting and teasing her and then start talking about sex? How do I lead the conversation to get sexual with her? What are some good examples you have used when first meeting women to have sexual conversations with them? Also, how do I get the point across to them that I'm not currently looking for a relationship and just want to hook up and have a fuck buddy in a subtle and smooth way without being too blatant about it? All right. So this is a good question because a lot of dudes hit me up about this, about, how do you get sexual with a chick and make that stuff happen? And, you guys need to go to badboymembership.com and check out my audio program, How to Build Sexual Tension with a Woman, because I go deep into that. And also I have my DVD, Reclaim the Game, New Dating Rules for Men, where in that DVD, I tell you how to get flirty, get sexual, to see if a chick is really feeling you. And it's a thing that I came up with called the team method. And you can, hear about that if you go to mrlocario.com and get Reclaim the Game, New Dating Rules for Men, or join the membership, because you can see that DVD for free if you're on the membership. But anyway, in this audio video, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of advanced game in this. So you might want to take some notes on how to get this popping. You feel me? All right. So first thing I wanted to say is this, is that, in your email, you were saying, how do I come across without looking thirsty, right? Now, the first thing, in order for you guys to have conversations with chicks that's going to lead to sex and all the other stuff, you have to stop, being scared of looking thirsty. You understand? You got to get that out your head. You have to forget about you looking thirsty. You understand? You have to be, you can't care about that shit. You understand? You have to be comfortable talking to a chick and being sexual with her. Do you understand? You have to be comfortable with that. If you're not comfortable with that, none of this is going to work out for you. That's so basically you have to be comfortable, saying these things. You understand? And the thing is, you're not looking thirsty if you are, being authentic and you're just basically coming at it because you're really trying to make it happen versus, you're just some dude who doesn't really, know how to talk to chicks. And he's just like being like extremely persistent and not realizing that the chick he's trying to holler at is not really feeling him. You feel what I'm saying? And then that comes off looking thirsty because the interaction isn't really playing out the way it needs to be, where the chick is actually reciprocating that interest. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of what I'm talking about today is going to be showing you how to talk to the chicks and, how to basically, have them reciprocate that interest and then to keep that going, right? So first thing you got to understand is, when you're talking to these chicks and you're trying to get sexual with them and you're trying to have these sexual conversations to get it into that zone or whatever, right? You got to start out, you should start out with some small talk. There's nothing wrong with having small talk, like, regular type of shit, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's your name? Where you from? What you do? And all this other stuff, but you got to keep that to a minimum. Do you understand? So like, let's say if you, let's use the example if you're at a party or something, or this is like the first date or something like that, where you have some sort of time to actually talk to the girl, not necessarily a chick you just met in the street for 2 seconds, but we'll start out with, a girl that you actually have in front of you that you got some time to talk to her, right? So, you could start off with some small talk. Like, let's just use the example if you're at a party or something and, you talking to a girl and you're having that regular small talk, but, keep it brief. You understand? Like, oh, who do you know at this party? Where you from, whatever. Right. And, do that for probably a minute or two, whatever. And then at a certain point, what you need to do is that you have to get flirty with your words and your actions. Do you understand? So at a certain point when you're talking to the girl, after you have all that little small talk, right, you have to say something that's going to show her that you're sexually interested in her. And it could be something small, meaning like, you're talking to her and you're like, yo, I'm noticing you got some really nice eyes. You understand? So you're letting her know that you're interested in her. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's where the flirty stuff starts coming in, right? So, like, yeah, you got some really nice eyes, really cute, whatever, right? And let's say you're continuing talking to her, you're saying other regular things, and you go back into some flirty stuff or whatever. And you also should be touching her, meaning touch her hand, touch the side of her arm, as, periodically as you're talking to her. So you should get close and do all that other stuff. And the reason why you're doing this, the reason why you are flirting and you're getting a little touchy-feely is because you have to see how she's responding to you doing that. Do you understand? And once you see how she's responding to how you're doing that, then that will give you the indicator if you should keep it going or if you should pull it back. Do you understand? So it's going to indicate if you should keep it going or you should pull it back. And this is the mistake that a lot of guys make, is that a lot of guys don't know how to see the vibe of the girl. They don't know how to see if this girl is actually, into what's going on. So while you're flirting with her, if you say, hey, you got some really nice eyes, you're really sexy, you're cute, blah, 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 whatever, right? Then you see how she's responding to you saying that. If she's like moving in closer, if she keeps talking to you, if she's, blushing, she's pulling her hair back, all that other type of stuff, you notice that and you say, okay, this chick is kind of feeling how I'm coming at her. You understand what I'm saying? So once you see that she's feeling that, you understand, that's when you keep it going. If you see that she's not feeling it, if you see she's kind of being all standoffish, or she's looking at you kind of crazy, or she's being all like, like, oh, why are you saying that or whatever. You understand? If she's doing that type of stuff, you don't need to keep it going or move it forward, because you don't want to get into the more sexual talk if you see that she's not really feeling it. You understand? So it's very important that you check the vibe out, right? And I'll give you an example like this so you can further understand this, right? Look at it as if you are a salesman, right? Imagine you're a salesman, or you have a salesman trying to sell something, right? So let's say this salesman is trying to sell something for $100, right? Now, if he sells it to that person, or he says, hey, I'm gonna sell you this thing, it's gonna cost $100, right? Now, if that person buys it, the person's like, all right, cool, yeah, I want that. That seems cool. Give me that, here's the $100, and the salesman gives them the thing, right? Now, since the salesman knows that this guy is interested in buying, right, he offers him something else. So he says, oh, cool, yeah, here's the product. Thanks for the 100. Oh, by the way, you should check this other thing out, because this other thing will go well with what you just bought. You understand? It's just going to be an extra, $80. You know what I'm saying? You should definitely get this with that. And then so the guy who bought the thing for $100, he's like, all right, cool. Well, throw that in too. You understand? So the salesman knew he presented him with that $100 thing. He saw he was interested, and then he followed it up with something else. Do you understand? So the same thing applies when you are talking to girls and you getting flirty with her. So you do the flirty stuff, you see if she's buying into it, and then you follow it up with more sexual stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, let's say if that salesman was, trying to sell somebody else this $100 thing, and he's like, yo, check this out. You know what I mean? I got this joint, blah, blah, blah. And the person's like, nah, I'm not really interested in that. It's not really my thing. I'm not really feeling it. You understand? Now, that salesman he's going to look at it like, okay, well, this guy's he's just totally not interested in this. This is not his thing. This is not the type of thing he wants. He's not really the type of person who wants this type of thing. So it would make sense for the salesman to try to sell him again on that thing, plus the other thing he was going to sell him. It doesn't make sense for him to try to sell the two things when the guy didn't even want the one thing in the first place. You understand? So once he knows that, he sort of is like, all right, cool. And he keeps it moving, right? You don't want to keep pushing, because that person who didn't want it is going to get annoyed. Like, yo, I just told you I don't want this shit. Like, why you keep trying to sell me this shit? You trying to sell me something else? Come on, dog. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Like, you have to see the vibe, and you have to see how the girl's responding in order to keep it going. Do you understand what I'm saying? So she's responding well to it. If she's responding by, being flirtatious back with you, and, she's doing all that other stuff, you move into that, sexual talk, right? So the question is, how do you lead the conversation to get sexual with her, right? And so, what you got to understand is that while you're having this conversation and this interaction, right, what you want to do is you need to make sure that you understand what your goal is in the conversation. What are you trying to get accomplished in this conversation? And then you have to ask yourself, how do I get to that goal? So you got to ask yourself, what's the goal? Then how do I get there? And that's how you build the conversation. So what you're going to do is you're going to lead the convo in the direction of your goal. So let's say, for example, you're on a first date, or you're at a party, whatever, and you're trying to get this girl back to your place, right? So that's the goal. The goal is, I want to try to get this girl back to my place so we can make something happen, right? So then you say, how do I lead a conversation in order to get her to, want to come back to my place, right? So I'll give you an example of something that I used to do, just a little example. And you don't try this word for word, because, you could, but I always like when you guys come up with your own stuff. And the more you talk to women, the easier it will be to come up with your own things, because it's basically the blueprint is basically you just having the goal and then figuring out a way to get there. You don't have to do it exactly how I'm doing it, but I'm just giving you an example so you can sort of see how it is, right? And before I even give you an example, what I want to say is that when you're having this conversation, when you're leading the conversation in the direction of, getting into that goal, you're still checking the vibe. You're still checking her responses, right? Because what you want to do is, while you're saying these things, you want to see how into the conversation she is. You want to see how cooperative she's being. You also, while you're having these conversations, at a certain point in the conversation, you sort of want to get touchy-feely a little bit and get a little closer to her as the conversation goes on, right? And as the conversation gets a little bit more flirty and the sexual tension builds, right? So, while you're doing these conversations, you are still checking the vibe to see what's going on. Because if you're having this conversation, you notice she's getting uncomfortable, or you notice she's like not really feeling it, then again, it doesn't, make sense to continue going on. And the reason why I stress this, guys, why I stress, checking the vibe out and really noticing, is because you don't want to mistake the chick's interest, and then you end up being in a situation where a girl will be like, oh, this guy was coming on too strong, and he was harassing me, and he was pressuring me, and all this other bullshit, right? A good rule of thumb is, when you're having these interactions with these chicks, is to, while you're having that verbal, you're saying things, and you are, and while you're having a little touch thing or whatever with her hand or the side of her arm or whatever, right? You want to see if her reaction is extremely positive to those things before you keep going. Do you understand? So you have to be really, you have to notice, you have to pay attention to how she is reacting. And some of the ways that, the chick will be reacting, if she's feeling it, she'll be smiling. She'll be, fixing her hair, fixing herself while she's talking to you. She'll be moving in closer to you. Let's say, for example, if you say to a girl, oh, hey, you have some really small hands, and then you grab her hand and you're like touching it or whatever, and you're holding her hand, she won't move her hand. She will keep her hand in your hand. You understand? So it's the reactions are positive in that situation, right? So now, going back to leading the conversation, I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm talking about. What I mean by leading the conversation. So basically, what you're just doing is leading it into the goal of what you want to make happen. So let's say you're at a party, you're trying to get this girl to, come back to your place or whatever. And so, for example, the stuff that I'm saying now is after the small talk, after you're having that little small talk and you're moving into the flirtiness, right? So let's say I'm talking to this girl, having a little small talk or whatever, and I'm starting to move into the flirty stuff. So I say something like, so, what do you like to do on the weekend? You seem like the type of chick where you and your girlfriends go to these clubs and try to meet guys, right? So I say that to her, and then she'll probably be like, oh, either, yeah, we kind of do that, or no, I don't really do that. I do this or whatever, right? Now, no matter what she's saying, I'm trying to keep the conversation flowing in a certain direction. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to get her to see me as the type of guy she wants to go home with. So this is why I'm asking her about meeting guys. You understand? So now after she says what she says, I'm basically going to say, hey, so what type of guys do you like? Notice I'm still sticking on the guy thing, right? And she'll be like, oh, well, I like guys who do this or like this or whatever. And then she's saying what she's saying. And then now I'm going to say, hey, well, I bet that you definitely like guys like me. You understand? So now I'm basically leading the conversation into her, into talking about how she likes guys like me. And then she'll be, at this point, this is where, I probably would get closer. You understand? While I'm talking to her and everything like that. So usually when I would say this to chicks, at this point, they'll either smile or start laughing, and they'll say, oh, really? Like, you think I like guys like you, whatever, some shit like that. And then I'll come back and be like, yeah, I could tell that you're definitely attracted to me. I could tell the way you're looking at me. You understand? Like, so now I'm keeping it going with this. And I'm at this point, I'm like really close to her and everything like that. Right. So now we're getting into the really flirty, super flirtatious, sexual type of thing. And then I'll be like, yeah, I'm thinking you're thinking about coming back to my place, getting me naked, taking advantage of me, stuff like that. I could see you looking at me like that. And like, so now all I'm doing is leading the conversation to the goal that I'm trying to make happen. Do you understand? So now while I'm saying all of this, I'm seeing how she's reacting, like what she's saying, how she's looking, how she's feeling, all that other stuff. So if she's going along with it, and a lot of times girls, they like to play like they are, like they like to flirt on this kind of, I'm not really saying it, but I'm saying it. So sometimes when I would do this, I'll be like, yeah, I bet you want to take me home and do this and do that. And they'll be like, oh, really? What makes you think I want to do that? And how could you tell? And whatever. And then so I'm just coming back, and then I pull her hand, I grab her hand, and I pull her closer into me. And I'm like, cuz I could tell, look how close you standing to me right now. You know what I mean? Like, and the reason why I'm telling you guys this is that, how to look for the reactions is because the more you do this, the more you're going to develop a sense of how to really make this happen. Do you understand? Because it takes practice, because you have to be quick on your feet, and you have to be able to know how to lead the conversation down that road, and at the same time figure out if this chick is feeling it or not by looking at her reaction. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let me give you another example that I used to use. And again, you guys, you could use your own stuff. You don't have to do it exactly how I'm doing it. I'm just giving you these examples of how I've done it, right? So let's say the goal is to, kiss the girl or whatever, right? So, I've done this a couple times. And one way I would do is just straight direct and say and let her know. So let's say we're having a small talk, and this is stuff that I've done literally in 5 minutes of meeting a girl at a party or something like that, right? So, let's say the goal was to, kiss her or whatever, right? And I remember I was talking to this girl, and I saw her putting on some lip gloss and shit. And I was like, yo, I said, what type of lip gloss are you wearing? And then she was like, oh, it's such and such. And she showed me the lip gloss. And I was like, yo, you have some really sexy lips, right? So then she smiles and starts laughing. She's like, oh, thank you, whatever. And then I was like, close your eyes for a second. She was like, why? I was like, just close your eyes. And she was like, why? I was like, because I'm about to kiss you. So then as soon as I said that, she closes her eyes, and then I kiss her. You understand? So I'm just leading the conversations to the kiss, but starting off with the lip gloss, then talking about her lips, and then going into the kissing. Do you understand? Another way you could do it is, I've done this before, is like the, a little playful way where I'm having a small talk with the girl, getting all flirty, like, oh, you're really cute, all this other stuff, whatever, right? Get flirting, and she's flirting back with me or whatever. And I would say something like, yo, you got some really sexy lips. And then I would say, hey, I would kiss you, but you seem like the type of chick that I don't know how to kiss, and I don't like kissing girls like that. And then she'd be like, oh, what do you mean? I'm a really good kisser, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, well, come and prove it to me. You understand? So the goal again was to kiss her, and I'm leading the conversation, getting sexual, and leading it into her kissing me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the thing is that, like I was saying earlier in the beginning, you guys got to get comfortable talking like this. If you're not comfortable talking like this, it's not going to go well for you. You understand? Because you have to be able to be comfortable in what you're saying and what you're doing in order for it to be effective. Do you understand? Because if you're saying it and you're nervous, or you're scared to say it, or you're scared to really come out with it like that, then she's going to sense it, and then that's when it becomes awkward. You understand what I'm saying? But so it should flow naturally, like literally naturally, like if you were just asking someone for directions. You understand? Like that simple. You understand it? It shouldn't be anything weird or crazy about it, because then it's not going to come out the way you need to, right? Also in your email, you were asking, how do I get the point across to them that I'm not currently looking for a relationship and just want to hook up and have a fuck buddy in a subtle, smooth way without being too blatant about it? So the thing is this, is that when you are talking to these girls and interacting with them and hanging out with them, hooking up, having sex or whatever, you don't need to really say anything. You just need to keep hooking up with them. You just like, so let's say, for example, you take a chick home, or you're on the first date, you making out with the chick, and let's say you take her home that day, or you see her another day and y'all get together, and then you take her home that day, or whatever it is. You just hang out with her, hook up with her, call her again the next week, hang out with her, hook up with her. And then, you don't really have to say anything, because you are having the fuck buddy relationship at first, because chicks aren't usually going to say, hey, I want you to be my man the first date. You understand? And you don't even need to bring that up. So that conversation may come up later on, right? And then if it comes up and you still just want to be on some fuck buddy type shit, you say, hey, well, right now I'm just chilling, you cool, I'm cool, we having a good time, let's just see where it goes. I just want to keep what we got going. And then you keep it like that. You understand what I'm saying? Eventually at some point she probably might say, hey, I want to, take it here and do more. And then that's your decision to make, if you want to, do something more boyfriend girlfriend like, or you just want to keep it the way it is. And if she don't want to keep it that way, then you just got to keep it moving. You understand? But what I want to say about this whole thing is, you guys just really got to be comfortable with it, and you have to practice. You understand? The more you practice, the easier it's going to be to, one, be able to spit your game how you need to do it, and two, it gets easier to see the signs of if a girl is interested in what you're doing and saying or not. And this is very important. And the thing is, there's going to be times where, unfortunately, I'll say this, there's going to be times where you're dealing with girls who, they're going to be extremely hard to read. This is why it's very important that you learn to do this a lot, because, the more you do it, the easier they're going to be to read. But in certain cases, there's going to be chicks who are extremely hard to read, right? So sometimes you're going to have to, while you're talking to them, you're going to have to, go forward, but pull it back, then go forward again and pull it back, in different increments, just to sort of gauge it. You understand? But the thing is, with chicks like that, I usually would say don't even really get too involved with those type of chicks. You understand? You want to see really what you're really looking for is, while you're doing this, is the chicks who are going to cooperate. You understand? By following the lead of your conversation. You understand what I'm saying? Because by you saying all these things and getting all flirty and stuff, you want to see if she's reciprocating that interest immediately. You understand? And if you notice she is, then keep it going. If you notice she isn't, then you like, all right, well, fuck it, she ain't, right? But it has to be either those two extremes, right? You don't want it to be sort of in the middle where you're not really too sure, or you understand, because then that's where the confusion happens, and then that's where you might have thought she was feeling it, and then you saying all this other shit, and then now it's a problem, or she is feeling it, but you didn't really know. So then it's kind of like you wasted your time or you didn't waste your time, but you might have left too early in the interaction, or you probably charged it too quick, and But either way, you didn't really make anything happen because you interpreted her, her being so nonchalant about it as her not feeling it. You understand? So you got to look for those extremes if she's, showing that interest, or if she's not showing that interest, like totally. You understand? And those are the best ways to check it out and see it. You feel me? But guys, make sure you join badboymembership.com and listen to how to build sexual tension with a woman. Listen to that audio, and also get the Reclaim the Game New Dating Rules for Men. You can get that on the badboymembership.com. When you join the membership, you will be able to listen to that, or you can just get the DVD by itself on MrLocario.com when you go to the store page. All right. So if anybody else has any questions, make sure you click the link below, send me a question, and I will holler at you guys later. Remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone. All right. Now, before you click off this video, I need you to do 3 quick things. First, I need you to click the link below to send me your questions, because if you have any questions, I'll answer them in a video. 2, click the link under that to get my free ebook, The Magnificent 10 Crucial Dating Tips for Men. It gives you 10 tips on how to attract beautiful women. And number 3, I want you to click the link under that to go to badboymembership.com, where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video tutorials every month. Hey, what's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90-minute, easy to follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract, date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.